On Monday night, the Liberals won all 3 federal by-elections. Mark Carney now leads a majority government, 174 seats in a 343-seat House of Commons. The morning after his first announcement was the suspension of the federal fuel excise tax. Gas will be cheaper at the pump by 10 cents a litre starting next week. But beyond the gas tax, the most important question is, what does a majority government actually change? Is the parliament going to work differently? Can the government move faster on the agenda it promised? And what does the opposition have to say about how this majority was assembled? Today, we work through all of that. The Liberals at 45% support, followed by 32% for the Conservatives and 12% for the NDP. 52% chose Carney, 24% chose Poilievre. The Globe notes that many of the projects identified as government priorities have not yet started. 5 things are worth tracking as this majority government takes shape. Starting with how this majority was built, because the way it happened is genuinely without precedent in Canadian history. Here is how the math works. In the federal election last spring, the Liberals won 169 seats, 3 short of a majority. Over the following year, 5 opposition MPs crossed the floor to join the Liberal caucus, 4 Conservatives and 1 NDP members. That brought the Liberals to 171, entering by-election night. Monday's sweep of all 3 by-elections added 3 more seats, bringing the total up to 174. What makes this historically notable? According to the Globe and Mail, a combination of floor crossings and by-elections turning a minority into a majority has never happened before in Canada. The Conservatives have framed this as illegitimate. Pierre argued the majority was won through backroom deals with politicians who betrayed people who voted for them. That characterization is contested. A floor crossing and by-election victories are entirely lawful under Canada's parliamentary system, but the political tension it creates is real, and it shapes how the opposition will approach this parliament. 3 by-elections, 3 Liberal wins. Let's talk about them quickly. University-Rosedale was vacated by Chrystia Freeland, the former Deputy Prime Minister now advising Ukrainian President Zelensky. The Liberals ran family doctor Danielle Martin. Her win gave Carney his 172nd seat and a thin majority. Scarborough Southwest was vacated when Bill Blair was appointed Canada's next High Commissioner to United Kingdom. The Liberals recruited Dolly Begum, former deputy leader of the Ontario NDP. Her win was notable. She became Canada's first Bangladeshi MP. But the most remarkable seat was Terrebonne. This Quebec riding was originally won by the Liberals in 2025 by a single vote, 1 vote, before the Supreme Court of Canada annulled that result because of a mail ballot postcode error. This rematch was held April 13. Liberal candidate Tatiana Auguste won in a result not called until just after midnight, a genuinely nail-biting finish that gave Carney his 174th seat and a clearer majority. Carney's first act as a majority prime minister was not a piece of legislation or a cabinet shuffle. It was a suspension of the federal fuel excise tax on gas and diesel effective this week. According to the federal government, the suspension will reduce the cost of regular gasoline by approximately 10 cents per litre and diesel by 4 cents per litre. This is a direct response to the Iran war-driven oil price spikes when we covered last week. When gas prices climbed past $1.72 a litre in the parts of Canada, there are questions worth asking. And as economists have noted, temporary fuel tax cuts don't always reach consumers. Retailers can absorb the relief rather than passing it on to the pump. When most people think about what a majority government means, they think about passing legislation more easily. That is true. Carney can now advance bills without needing any opposition party support. But the more immediate practical change is committee control. Parliamentary committees are where the detailed work of government happens. Bills are examined, witnesses are called, ministers are questioned. In a minority parliament, the opposition party combined outnumbered the government on committees. That means opposition MPs can slow down committee work, call inconvenient witnesses, and summon ministers to testify. The standing order of the House of Commons say that party representation on committees should reflect party standings in a house. With the majority, the Liberals will now move to reconfigure committees so they hold more seats. Government House leaders Stephen McKinnon confirmed this is coming, telling reporters to expect news not too far away. In practice, that means the Liberals will control which witnesses appear and how long hearings run and how quickly legislation moves through committees. That is a significant shift in parliamentary power. Conservative House leader Andrew Scheer argued Thursday that traditionally committee composition is negotiated through consensus based on the results of the general election, not adjusted mid-parliament because of floor crossings and by-elections. He called this unprecedented territory and accused the Liberals of trying to stack the deck. The Liberals' counter-argument is equally clear. The standing orders say committees must reflect party standings in the House. The standings have changed. The rules should follow. Both positions have genuine democratic logic. Scheer's argument is that legitimacy flows from elections. Voters didn't elect a Liberal majority, and committees assembled on the basis of floor crossings don't reflect the ballot box. McKinnon's argument is that the rules are the rules, and that clearly say the House's current composition governs the committees. This dispute is not abstract. It determines how effectively the opposition can hold the government accountable over the summer and into the next year. The Conservatives lost all three by-elections by significant margin. On by-election night, Poilievre pledged to continue fighting for Canadians in Parliament and in the next election. The polling contest is striking. The most recent Nanos research survey, based on interviews up to April 10th, has the Liberals at 45% support, followed by 32% for the Conservatives and 12% for the NDP. On the question of preferred prime ministers, 52% chose Carney, 24% chose Poilievre. That is a 28-point gap. Whether a majority actually changes the pace of governing depends on why legislation moved slowly in year one. But the record also shows the challenge is not only parliamentary. Carney has repeatedly promised to cut red tape and get major projects built. The Globe notes that many of the projects identified as government priorities have not yet started. Building trade and energy corridors, doubling clean energy capacity, and creating one Canadian economy out of 13 are long horizon projects. A majority provides the parliamentary tools. Whether those tools translate into construction and delivery is the question the next year will begin to answer. The day before the by-elections, Carney released a pre-recorded address to Canadians, described by a government source as a new venue for regular, direct, extended communication with the public about his plans for the country. The central argument was a significant one. He said Canada's close ties to the United States, historically a source of economic strength, have become a weakness given the Trump administration's tariff escalations to levels not seen since the Great Depression. His framing, the US has changed and we must respond. He outlined a response centered on the building new trade and energy corridors, doubling clean energy capacity, and creating, in a phrase he explicitly used, one Canadian economy out of 13. He said, in a crisis, fortune favors the bold. He held up a small statue of Major General Sir Isaac Brock, a gift from comedian Mike Myers, and drew a historical parallel to 1812. Brock built alliance across the land when Canada faced an American invasion. The argument, the same national coalition building is required now. He invoked that St. Lawrence Seaway, the CN Tower, and the Trans-Canada Highway as evidence that ambitious, determined Canada builds things when it has to. 5 things are worth tracking as this majority government takes shape. 1. Committee reconfiguration. When McKinnon moves to adjust committee composition, watch the specific proposal and how it navigates the standing orders. The opposition's response will tell us how the Liberals intend to wield that majority. 2. The Spring Economic Update on April 28th, 1 year after the federal election. That document will show how Iran war, oil prices, and US tariff uncertainty are affecting federal revenues and the fiscal plan. 3. The fuel excise suspension. Watch whether the 10 cents reduction reaches drivers at the pump or is absorbed by the retailers. 4. The legislative pace. With 15 remaining government bills yet to pass, will the majority produce notably faster movement? That is the most direct measure of whether majority status changes the governing rhythm. And 5. Conservative leadership. Multiple losses and a 28-point polling gap will generate internal pressure. Whether that pressure surfaces before the summer recess is the defining political subplot to watch. All sources for this episode are in the description.